Hotep family, I'm gonna have to, try to prepare a little bit more beforehand. But you're live on the Pro Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio. Today we're going to do something very special, and that is we're going to review some Black nationalist philosophy. And who better to give you who better to review than your favorite, or your once upon a time favorite Black nationalist philosopher, Onitaset Kumat himself. So, what we're doing today is we're going to be looking at whether or not, can we improve upon the core tenets of the African blood sibling? So, I'm going to give you a little bit of backdrop. This is the African Blood Siblings website. I authored this, it was like about a decade ago. You can see this article is from 2012, December 15, 2012, right? December 15, 2012, so it's a long time ago. Back when I used to put on... Well, what you say?
It's a long ass time.
Yeah, exactly, right? Back when I was still, I still had, Obama wasn't even elected yet, you know what I'm saying? Oh, no, he was. Huh? What'd you say?
My boy was a deep good.
Nah, I was. It's still deep. I don't know about that, but yeah, I got you, man. So actually, I used to be selling the motherfucking. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't curse, but I used to be selling the pamphlet back in the day. Yeah. You said what?
Selling big pies too.
Oh yeah, definitely being pies. But I mean, I ate all. Don't get high on your own supply, but sure. You know what I'm saying? Well, I look like Obama just won re-election, matter of fact. So 2012, Obama just won re-election.
So you were feeling yourself?
I was feeling myself.
Yeah.
That's how the song go, right? I think it's Beyonce, right? All right. So anyway, I started off listing siblings that come in peace. The key to all problems is the problem of consciousness, right? And so I say maroon and build for self, right? That was the pamphlet I was selling to. But it says the spirit of this motto has been passed down for eons among African people. In the 18th century, Queen Nanny had used it to organize forgers of a prosperous independent African community in Jamaica. Before her, in the 17th century, Queen Nzinga organized the forgers of the same in Ondongo and Matamba, now Angola. Before them, King Taharka continued Ethiopia's organized rescue of Egypt, and each of them did this when others were misorganized into dependence on their oppressors. These great ancestors understood that none could outcreate Africans for Africans. I want people to realize, too, that these three ancestors are the same three ancestors that I uphold in all my books. All my books. Well, not all of them, but yeah. I try to give respect to all of them. Although I actually spell their names differently now. So each of these I spell differently. So Queen Nanny, I do Akampong now. Queen Nzinga, I might have an H in there. And then Taharka, I probably put an A and a K. But, because you gotta have an AK.
What about Sheba?
What about Sheba? Alright, anyway. This brother, man. Yo. Machiavelli, ladies and gentlemen. We got PC in the building, too. But, yeah. Alright, let's keep going. So the reasoning behind Please Build For Me and Maroon for Self is European philosophy. No. The reasoning behind Please Build For Me and Maroon and Build for Self is European philosophy and African philosophy, respectively. So that's really important to realize too. That I'm saying the philosophy of a lot of these people today is please build for me. I just saw this video. I want you guys to go on social media, bring some stuff to my attention. I saw this sister was talking about she's a radical Black nationalist, and she's going against. Matter of fact, Obama, saying Obama didn't give us a universal health care and Medicare or something, and then she goes on to say, but we need to build our own Black institutions. Now it's if you're building your own Black institutions, why are you sweating if this white boy is giving you Medicare health care or not? Why do you care if this white boy has it? Because for me right now, Machiavelli's on my case about this, but I don't go to no Wazungu doctor. Because I say to myself, I'm about doing for self. And I mean, not saying that I wouldn't, in a serious situation, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. Huh? No, I'm not. I mean, look, I don't know per se, but so far I haven't really, I mean, the only things I go to the white boy for is obviously STI screenings, and I think that's about it. But what do you say? I mean, like, nah. I mean, like, if black folks was doing STI screenings, I'd do that. You know what I'm saying? But because they don't, like, sure. Anyway, yeah. But like, I can't remember. There was something else. I remember I had a list. There was like one other thing that I might go to the doctor for. I mean, not saying I never like, and if I do go to a doctor, most of the times it's a black doctor.
Like, that's normal stuff you're supposed to do, man.
Nah, I don't do no physicals, man.
Just get a black doctor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's simpler for people with like we were just talking about. I mean, you know what? I ain't even gonna say it, but yeah, nah, I don't have it like that. Anyway, Occidental education.
You don't got no health insurance, huh?
Yo, don't say that. You know, Obama kid gonna come after you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna say, wait, you ain't got no health insurance? Now I gotta go delete this whole freaking video. Nah, I got health insurance. Obama, don't come after me. Alright. Anyway. Occidental education teaches European philosophy. This is miseducation for African people. European philosophy teaches tribalism. Every student in the West learns of African inferiority and European superiority. Each advanced candidate of European philosophy learns how to tighten the chains on African arms. This is what Africans learn from the cradle to the grave. Even 3-year-olds sing, I pledge allegiance to the American flag. And that's facts, 3-year-olds do sing, pledge allegiance to the American flag. I mean, I think when I wrote this, I was shocked. I was like, that kid's like, not even, not even, like, they don't understand what they're saying. They're just, indivisible, And look, I still memorize that stuff from 3 years ago. From around like 20-something, 30 years ago. Anyway, ideally, Africans should espouse African philosophy. African philosophy teaches restorism. Maroon and Bill for Self. The motto of the African blood siblings derives from African philosophy. The basis of any philosophy are its core tenets. Like variants of empower the tribe is a core tenet of European philosophy, variants of restore Africa is a core tenet of African philosophy. In Western schools, we learn European tenets. That's the root of our problems. We need to learn African tenets, and we need those tenets to advance us as a people. Okay? So the African blood siblings has core tenets that, understood by membership, ensures that every unit of 13 members, no matter where they are on this world, creates local projects that go toward the liberation of African people. Review them and seek to assimilate them. When assimilated, send an email to me. Before then, distribute copies of the flyer. This is the organization to inform the African world on its African services, which will liberate African people. So, right here you can obviously see, like, I was much more optimistic about, how the internet could be used. I was like, hey, people are going to read something, they're gonna digest it, they're gonna organize it themselves, and all I got to do is.
Little did you know.
Yeah, exactly. I got the whole country. I didn't have the whole country with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know that song actually. So, you know that song or no? Oh, you probably not.
It's before my time.
Yeah, it's before your time, man. That was the jump back in the day. You know what I'm saying? What's it called though? I can't remember. I can probably play it another time. But all right, let's see the core tenets of the African blood sibling. So this was actually really important. So it says, opposing wrong makes a right. So this is actually still relevant to this day. And what opposing wrong makes a right is that, usually in the West you hear something like 2 wrongs make a right. Okay? You hear 2 wrongs make a right. No, sorry, 2 wrongs don't make a right. So then the question becomes, what makes a right? And the reality is that when you oppose... Come again?
2 lefts.
2 lefts? Oh, yeah, that's true. But, I tell you, man, that left-right thing, I like the best, my favorite... Well, look, I guess it's a white quote, but one of my favorite white quotes is this one about, war doesn't decide who's right, war decides who's left. You know what I'm saying? That's another play on words. And obviously, yeah, exactly. Obviously, it would.
Go on, bro.
Go on. Okay. I was gonna explain it to people who understood it already. But anyway, opposing wrong makes a right. What that means is, yeah, like essentially it's like this. If you see like a dude like aggressing on a woman on the streets, and you say, look, I'm a fine gentleman because I did not aggress on her, I didn't do anything against her. Or, you know, like, even if you see, like, a woman getting harassed by a group of dudes, and you just sitting back, and you're like, I'm one of the good guys because I ain't do nothing, right? You know, the reality is that comes into the idea of innocence versus blamelessness, you know? And what happened with our ancestors, that our ancestors were known as the blameless, well, they call them Ethiopians, so the blameless Ethiopians. You know, but the idea was that we weren't necessarily, like we were innocent plus blameless in the sense that nobody could blame us. You know, if you're standing around while a woman's getting harassed and abused and you ain't do nothing, you might be innocent. But it's not like if she's angry at you or angry at men or whatever, it's not to say that you, it's not to say that you are necessarily blameless. You know, just standing around doing nothing. You know, and of course, obviously, in most cases, a lot of cases, you really aren't empowered to do much as an individual, you know, against something that's, you know, organized in a sense. And of course, that's one of the tenets later. You know, so it's like, you know, if there's a bunch of guys harassing a woman, and I just say, hey, you guys, stop it, you know, Captain, you know, save or whatever, right? I shouldn't say that. But, you know, if I try to stop them, you know, like, I'm going to get bodied. You know, and there's tons of dudes, huh?
That's true.
Yeah, there's tons of dudes. Matter of fact, I think my brother told me about this time when he was on the bus. I guess this dude, you know, I guess it was a black guy, I guess, right? But he was this large black guy. And he was, like, harassing, I guess he was, no, matter of fact, it could have been it could have been a white guy, large white guy, like, beating on his woman, right? And so beating on a woman, but, you know, that they was dating. What'd he say?
So that's none of my business.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, and then the white guy tried to stand up, and the other white guy clocked him so bad. You understand? The big white guy clocked him so bad he flipped over like a bus seat. You know? And it's like, it's not to say that you shouldn't do anything, you couldn't do anything. In an African society, we would have law enforcement, or we would be law enforcement. You understand? Now, obviously, if you're in a white society, you know, there's the white law enforcement, and you might not necessarily want to mess with that, you know? So, you know, but like the truth is that if you want to be blameless, you got to do something. You know, even if it's like, blah, you know, just scream, you know, I don't know, whatever. Just do something, you know? Make a distraction, do something. But obviously you can't always do something. I mean, that's just like pure facts. I remember one time, like, you know, it's not too usual that there's a drive-by in my neighborhood or around my neighborhood or whatever, or on my walk to wherever I'm going. But I remember there being a particular shooting, and a lot of people just ran. You know what I mean? A lot of people just ran. It wasn't like you could, like, you know, like it was like a car shutting at another car or something, you know? And, you know, a lot of people just ran. It wasn't like you could really, like, stop a car. I mean, you could, obviously, or you could, you know, some people could shoot back. I mean, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, of course, PC going to be on my case about that. He going to be like, why you ain't shoot at that? But the point being, though, that, you know, like, you can't always oppose. But there are some cases, some instances where you can oppose. And that's really what it comes down to, you know? Let's go to the next one, though. So this one's interesting. Knowledge, wisdom, and love are weapons against ignorance, error, and hate. Okay? So knowledge, wisdom, and love are weapons against ignorance, error, and hate. So the idea is that knowledge is the... Like back in the day, I would be... Like if I was level-headed once upon a time, it was because of stuff like this, where I would be encountered with ignorance. And instead of getting ignorant, I would bring knowledge to them. You know? I would be encountered with error. And instead of bringing error to them, you know, I would bring wisdom. And, you know, I would be encountered with hate, or I think later on I might have changed this to some other word, right? But I'd be encountered with hate, and instead of bringing hate, I bring love. So a lot of times, you know, in the past at least, you know, you would see me... Like, you would see me surrounded, like, sometimes I have ignorance in front of me, error, hate in front of me, and instead of being, like, you know, dirty, low down, blah, 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 you know, I would be loving to even, like, among our own people, our own enemies, right? I mean, like our traders now. But today, I would say that's one of the troubles with black nationalism, you know, at least as practiced here. A lot of people weren't necessarily practicing this, but one of the troubles with that is that the idea that you could, like reality is that your enemy or your traitors, they are not really the people that you need to be so warm to. You know? That in fact, you know, actually I was just listening to, I think Kwame Ture And commentary was like, you gotta body some of your own. You know what I mean? And I mean, like, usually I would not, like, back in the day, cause here's another thing that comes with the Black nationalist mindset too. That's like, a lot of us look at examples like Malcolm X, who was a good brother, and we would say, if Malcolm X was Detroit Red, how would we treat him? And if you treat him with, if you treat Detroit Red with love, you can make a Malcolm X. So that's partly why I would even, reason that, love versus hate is a good thing, right? But it's not that Malcolm's an exception per se, as much as, realistically speaking, you got to get on this train, right? You got to get on this train and get the motor running, get the enterprise running, and so you don't really have time. I had an elder, in fact. I'll say it this way. There's an elder. She's a nice woman from America, obviously. And she was saying, like, back in her days when she was organizing, she would tell people, like one of the mottos that they had was, don't leave people in complete darkness. So don't leave people in total darkness. That was that you don't necessarily waste your time and energy on the ignorant people, but you just give them a glimmer of light, notwithstanding. But like, you just don't leave them in total darkness. They're in total darkness, but you just give them a light. You tell them, just look, whatever you're doing, just give them something. Looking at H. Rap Brown, looking at Malcolm X, looking at Queen and Singer. Look, just do whatever it was, whatever you could do. Just don't leave them in total darkness. And that's really how I want to start approaching things too. It's like, if I see a brother, like I see a Detroit Red, I'm not necessarily going to like try to groom them and like go spend time, blah blah blah, be a part of their life or something. No. I'm just gonna like be like, you remind me of Malcolm X. You should read Malcolm X autobiography. And after that, if you do read it, here's my contact. You can contact me. I can tell you something else or do anything. I could even give you my pocket, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you can't necessarily just like, oh well, this person could be Malcolm X and this person could be Malcolm X. Because the reality is that what made Malcolm, unfortunately, and Malcolm was a special, intelligent person, and you can kind of see that. Like, Malcolm was like a special, intelligent person. Not too many people are gonna be as impressive as Malcolm, if we're being honest. Because a lot of times, like you could probably already see, like if you follow his story, you'll see that he was already kind of exceptional, just like misguided, And so like there are people who are exceptional and misguided, and you can obviously reach those people, and those are the people that I like to surround myself with. But no, it's not going to work on like everybody. Some people are not necessarily exceptional. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are not necessarily exceptional, and all right. Anyway, and then I mean, I like I said, I don't surround myself with the people who aren't too exceptional. You know what I'm saying? So I can't name any names. But all right, let's go. Prosperity. Now, this one I like. This one's actually pretty important and deep, I think. Or at least I thought. Let's see. Prosperity, independence, and community is the removal of impoverishment, dependency, and individualism. So here is one of the things that I would actually say. I would actually take an issue to this, right? So one of the ideas is that it's like one of the things inside of Black nationalism, Black nationalist thinking, right? And again, like I said, this is really me. I'm really talking about myself. So just me growing as an individual, which is something you should expect. But one of the things about, all right, we can even say early Oni. How about that? Before somebody take issue. But one of the things about Oni, that just sounds weird. Let me stop. All right, so impoverishment is this idea that if you remove it's the idea that we're not poor, but we're impoverished. As to say that there's an active agent working against our wealth, right? Which is true, right? This nation or these white folk, whatever you want to say, there is this sort of quasi-active agent working against our wealth, right? However, to attain wealth, like you could not expect to attain wealth, notwithstanding, like even in the absence of them, unless they were really hands off with you. Like if they were really, like you couldn't expect the level of hands off that would be required. And by hands off I mean they would have to, like, you would have to be able to engage in international trade without their permission. You know? You would have to be able to, in fact, engage in any sort of trade without their permission. And the reality is that there's no way that you could expect to be in another people's country and not be subject to their trade laws. You know? Like, there's no way that you could expect to be subject, like, you can't expect to not be subject to, like, if I go to China, I can't expect to engage in trade in China's borders without engaging China's trade laws. You know? So notwithstanding all that, you know, if the legal system itself is set up to preserve wealth for the nation's elites, if you will, you know, that's something that I would actually, say. If it's set up in that sense, then no. Realistically speaking, like there's just, it's like, what can you do? You know, like, what can you do if you were truly trying to be independent? You know? So again, impoverishment, dependency, and individualism. So, I mean, although you want to, so, like, one of the things that I always used to repeat was that I wanted prosperous, independent African community, right? You can't necessarily, like you could and you can't really get those prosperous, independent African communities. And I mean, yes, I know it's not gonna, it's like, it sounds like you could on one level, but it's like, it just like, all right, like, let's say dependency versus independence, right? Like, to what extent could you be independent? You know, could you build, like, I mean, like, let's say it this way: could you build a power plant in the middle of America? You know, could you build a nuclear power plant in the middle of America? You know?
Maybe solar.
You see what I'm saying? Like you're not really independent because
Maybe solar.
yeah, maybe solar. That's what I'm saying. But it's like, if you're still beholden to another group, you know, or if another group is telling you what you can and can't do, and the thing is that it's different when they're telling a whole other nation. You know, when they're telling another whole other nation, it's like a geopolitical level. But if you're legit within their country and they're telling you not to do something, that is like most people would say that's within their right. You know, like, it's within a nation's right. Not to say that a nation can't, like, another nation could tell another nation not to do something, right? But it's kind of like, that's not your right, and, you know, we could fight over it. But, like, telling your own citizens, you could definitely tell your own citizens not to do X, Y, and Z. And the idea that you wouldn't, like, you'd be outside of that is kind of bonkers. You know, it's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to build a nuclear power plant. Yeah, maybe a solar power plant, but that's what I'm saying. You have to also run it by them, because if you're building a solar power plant in the United States, like there's so much red tape there. You know, because now you're going to be providing energy to black people and maybe white people. You know, like, there's so much red tape. You know, Con Edison, for instance, which is like the power, one of the power companies in America, at least where I am. But like, it has to run a lot. It has to do a lot of things according to the city. You know, the city of New York will say, this is what blah 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 blah. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you can't do. This blah 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 blah. Like, the city of New York has a lot of regulations. So the idea that you could just build something, right, without any regulations from the city is just kind of like, what? Now, of course, if you run the city, that's one thing. But again, like, that's the thing with America that people have to really understand, is that a lot of even if there are black cities, there aren't black states. And so the governors of these states are usually, I mean, they're not necessarily always white, but for the most part, you know, the states are white majority, you know, and because the states are a white majority, you know, with the exception of like Latino majorities and all that kind of stuff, but because the state is white majority, it is like, you know, even if you did run a city and you had the energy and all that, you know, you still run into this state kind of trouble. And so like white people have this kind of system on lock. It would be different on the continent. You know, it would be different on the continent because essentially, you know, you have a black leadership. You know, now of course the black leadership might go into some sort of, you know, nonsense. Like I said earlier about the European thinking and the tribalism, right? They might go into some nonsense tribalism, but like one thing that we know about Africa is that you can like get over the tribalism. You know, I mean, it sounds difficult. I know this brother's from Nigeria, so he's like, wait, what? Huh? What'd you say?
That's a cap.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So I know that this brother from Nigeria, so he's like, wait, hold on a second. But the example that we can adapt is Nyere's Tanzania, you know? And so in Tanzania, you know, they used to have like 1,000, you know, ethnic groups or whatever. But he kind of like, well, like they kind of like wipe their hands of that, you know? So like that's something that, you know, can be done. And at least on a political level, it can definitely be done. But it would take a lot of effort. But again, now the other one that you should like, or everybody should like, is community, is the removal of individualism. But again, you know, this also runs into the problem of, you know, the fact that because essentially these three are all the same thing: impoverishment, poverty, dependence, individualism, are all slavery. You know, but the issue there then is that, you know, you're not like, it's hard to not have that individualism and be enslaved. You know, like if you're enslaved, then of course you're gonna have that individualism, and that's just one of the troubles with this whole system. So I would think that one of the biggest problems, like this would be like if I could go back in time and I were engaging, you know, I was gonna prove me wrong. You know, let's say I didn't prove me wrong back then, I would have challenged me on that. You know what I mean? And obviously I would have won. But I mean that's just, you know, that doesn't make any sense. All right, let's go to the next one. Organized justice defeats organized injustice. So this one's actually an important one. It's this idea that, realistically speaking, if you're like, the only way to fight something that's organized is to yourself be organized, you know, and that, you know, the idea of like a Rambo, you know, like an individual going against an organized group and winning isn't really realistic. So it's like justice goes against injustice. I would say like back in the day, I would say justice defeats injustice, but it's a particular type of justice, that is organized justice versus organized injustice. So, yeah, you want to, like this one I would definitely keep, in the sense of, but the only thing is that you have to realize that, like, in the context of America, the most organized group is America itself, you know? And that's something that I was telling the sister the other day, because, you know, she was on my case about, like, she decided to, you know, she's one of the conspiracy theories, and she's just like, so are you voting? And, you know, then you know, obviously I said I don't want to answer that. I don't want to talk about that. And then she goes, well, you should talk about it, blah, blah, blah. So finally she, you know, I do tell her, yeah, I mean, I would vote. And then she goes, wait, that's surprising, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but I explained to her, I say, look, man, you know, any nation and I say, look, first off, I say, look, you think that if you have more money, you could accomplish more, you could do more, right? And she's like, well, obviously, right? And I was like, in every nation on the planet, right? Every nation on the planet, every city on the planet, every state on the planet, right? The richest entity in that nation, in that city, in that state is the nation, the city, or the state. You understand? So the richest entity in America is America. You understand? And the way how you look at it is you say, look, the richest man in America, or the richest man in the world, they say, is Jeff Bezos, right? And he's worth like 150 billion, right? And then you have, you know, you say what?
200.
All right, yeah, 200 billion, right? His corporation, Amazon, is worth like has a net revenue last year of 200 billion, right? Now, here's the thing. The United States revenue was $5 trillion. You understand? Well, you said what? Amazon's what?
Change, man.
Huh?
Well,
No, I mean its revenue was 200 billion. But like maybe you could say it's a $1 trillion company, but you know its revenue was 200 billion, right? Uh, the thing is that the United States, its revenue is $5 trillion. You know,
That's
so
pocket change, man.
that's pocket change, you say?
Yeah, that ain't nothing.
Okay. Okay, but the point being though is that the nation itself is much richer than the richest individual. That's the point, you know. So that or even like the richest organization, the richest corporation, right? So it's like you know every nation has that. So I mean, of course, you know, if you wanted to know why that wasn't to do with voting, it was just that you know voting, you know, like every state has a budget, every city has a budget, every country has a budget, and you know part of that voting is you know how the budget is dispersed. And obviously, if you're contributing to the budget, you'd want to you know have a say in how that's dispersed. But outside of that, the reason why I bring this up is to say that you know like in a particular nation, you would expect the opposition, which is the nation. Like if you're talking about like let's say revolutionary talk, or you're talking about the nation itself is my enemy. Like you have to realize that in any nation, the opposition is potentially the most well-to-do, like the most, like has the biggest budget. You know, has a much bigger budget than you. Now, obviously, in a lot of countries, when you did revolution, you would get outside assistance. You know, outside financing. So even when America fought England, I think France helped out, right? I'm not too sure, but I believe so, right? I mean, a lot of nations probably helped out. Who knows? But you know, but like even if you talk about Angola fighting the Portuguese, you know, they had the Russians help or the Cubans help or whomever. You know, like a lot of times you would have that outside if you were a small group. Not to say that you can't necessarily do it on your own, and you can. I believe you could, but I'm just explaining that you know in any particular nation, you know, you have to expect that the that the budget of your enemy, the war budget of your enemy, is going to be a lot more than you know whatever your small group is. Uh, but if you organize well enough and big enough, you know you could do quite a bit. The only issue, of course, with America is that you're not the majority, and so you know even if 40 million people were well organized, you know I mean they'd have to do it pretty much in secret. Otherwise, you know the 200 million white people could just out organize them pretty easily. But anyway, so the next one is this one's really interesting. So this is what I thought that everybody. This is one of the reasons why I started organizing because I thought this is what we had to understand, which is obey the laws of nature, harmony, and morality. The one for harmony really comes from the ancient Kemet Chu, where they say organization is impossible if those who organization is impossible if those who don't know the how's it go? Organization is impossible unless those who know the laws of harmony lay the foundation. So the idea is that you know you could not organize unless you knew the laws of harmony. Now, what are the laws of harmony? I don't have time to explain it, right? No, I'm just. But like seriously though, that would be the that would be like the ancient you know African philosophy, you know, in a nutshell. Just this idea of things being in harmony and how that is really what is conducive to organization. Now, of course, that what that tells you too is that black people could organize better than white folk because we would have that understanding of the laws of harmony. But that's like once upon a time. You know, like black people today would not have that understanding. So it's like it's almost a moot point. But of course, you know, that's something that you'd want to recover and get back to. So I mean, I would keep this one, although it is obscure right now. When it comes to the laws of morality. Oh yeah, well that's what I'm saying. You got to stay on code too. I mean that's what I'm saying. Like nature is like one of the things that the ancient Africans also said. They also talk about nature. Nature is flawless. You know. So if you're talking about like code, like nature is like the truth. You know. So the laws of nature. In fact, one of the quotes, one of the proverbs from that same section, that same city, if you will, Waset. One of the proverbs there too was that reality is the sum of laws. No, reality is consciousness. No, sorry, knowledge is consciousness of reality. And reality is the sum of laws that govern nature and the causes from which they flow. So like reality was essentially laws of nature. Like having like knowledge was essentially understanding the laws of nature, of which harmony was a part of it, and I believe morality is also a part of it. And if you read the Book of Power, you'll see that morality really has something to do with this right here. That is ma'at versus isfet. Morality is partly about warfare, and that's something that I like. Like if you really study moral philosophy, well, when I studied moral philosophy, it was actually something that's just like hidden in between the lines. But not too many people are gonna know about this. So you guys are lucky that you got somebody like me. All right, so let's go. Self-determinate people seek and develop their own peace, possessions, and consciousness. So peace, possessions, and consciousness were words that I found in the ancient African wisdom. So they didn't really say economics and politics and culture, but they were talking about the pursuit of peace, the attainment of possessions, and the establishment of a consciousness. So I was saying that, and they also use the word seek and develop. So I just put everything together. I said, if you're a self-determinate people, you seek and develop your own peace, your own possessions, and your own consciousness. And again, I want to keep highlighting this. When it comes to, like, this is actually a perfectly sound statement. It's just not as applicable in this country. In America, right? In the diaspora. Or not just in the diaspora, but really, like, in a white majority state. And again, the reason being because, like I said, you're held back by these trade laws. You're held back by the legal system of these nations. The reality is that if you go to any nation, you might be held back by their legal system. But the bigger reality is that you can potentially influence their legal system much better than you can influence this one. So, or like white, better than you can influence the legal system of white nations. And so one of the things that I think is makes it really clear is just, if you're trying to accomplish the same things or you have the same complaints, or you're trying to accomplish the same things that you complain about in America, but you complain about it in China. Like if you say all that stuff that you're trying to do in America, but you're trying to do it in China, you'll see how ridiculous it sounds. It's like, why would like you're whining about something in China, but China's not your country, or China's not even your people. And I mean, and not to say that it doesn't sound ridiculous if I go to Nigeria and start whining about something, right? But the reality is that if I whine about it, like if I whine about it from my, oh, well, I'm this, blah, 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 I should get everything, blah, blah, blah. It might be ridiculous, but if people around me, like, agree with me, if the majority agrees with me, then it's just the same as if I were complaining about it. You know what I mean? So if I'm like, hey, we should be able to, like for instance, I'm in America, and I say, I think we should be able to get those plastic printers, the printers that, that produce the plastic or whatever, and make plastic guns. I believe we could do that. We should do that at home, right? If I'm in America and I make that complaint, right, and the white majority is like, whoa, hold up, nope, I don't agree, right? Then it's moot, Not to say that the white majority would disagree, but it's still moot, because that's what happened in America. Some white people wanted it, some white people didn't. Then they dismissed it. They said, no, we're not going to have that, and it's gone, right? So me as a black person saying, oh, blah, 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 it doesn't make any sense, right? If I go to China and I say the same thing, I say, oh, we should get this, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, nobody cares. It's like, oh, this black guy's trying to arm himself? That's stupid, right? But if I go to Africa, any African country, and I'm like, blah, 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 and the people are like, yeah, we should arm ourselves, right? Now, obviously, the state might not necessarily agree with that. It's not the best example. But the reality is that that's where it makes a little bit more sense, because, even if I'm making a complaint as a black person, then other black people, like I'm part of the majority now. You get what I'm saying? Whereas if I'm in America making a complaint as a black person, right, then I'm not the majority. And it just doesn't work out the same way. So that's partly why. It's like, that's why even like if you were to go to Jamaica or Bahamas or wherever, or Barbados or wherever, and you were making that complaint, it would make a lot more sense. The only thing about those Caribbean islands, while they're excellent places, they have like really tiny populations, like very, very tiny populations. So it's almost like it'd be like a moot point, Like I said, Jamaica's
It's
like.
almost like you're on an island.
You said what?
It's almost like you're on an island.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like you're on an island, you know. Uh, anyway, this smart ass, right? No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, but like Jamaica's like 3 million people. So even if I did like something radical, amazing, it's just like the size of a. Like it's smaller than New York City. You know what I mean? New York City is like 8 million people. So it's like.
Router.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's still like, you know, and that's like most of the diaspora.
Sardines.
You say what?
Packed like sardines.
Sure, they're delicious, right? No, I'm joking. All right, this one's actually pretty important though. Address the four necessities: racial independence in food, clothing, shelter, and consciousness. So this is actually something you can technically achieve in the West, but like I said, again, you still have these trade laws. So like the trade laws really get in the way of a lot that you want to accomplish, you know? And not just that, like a lot of the land in America is owned already, you know? Like it's owned by these white folk already. Whereas in Africa, apparently a lot of the land is kind of like vacant. I don't know. That's what they say. I don't know, but that's the rumor, you know, that a lot of lands. Huh?
Who was that?
I mean, like if you look at the population density of Africa, like a lot of these African states, it's like tiny, you know, like it's like 37 per like kilometer square or something like that. You know what I mean? Like like it's like you know, yeah, it's tiny. As opposed to you know like other nations where it's like I don't know, but it might be like 100, 300. I don't know. I didn't really look up the other nations, so I can't really say. But I just know that I saw tons of examples that were tiny. But yeah. But otherwise, yeah, food independence and food, clothing, shelter, and consciousness. You want to have because like usually we say that the three necessities are food, clothing, and shelter, right? So I added, of course, consciousness. I think consciousness is another necessity. But what's more important as a necessity is to have racial independence in these. Right now, we kind of have a lot of places, as a matter of fact, not just the West, but in Africa too. We have food dependence in these subjects, food, clothing, shelter, and consciousness. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to get that racial independence in these, and that's really what it's about. That's really the difference between being in the West and not being in the like actually being in America or Brazil and not being in America or Brazil or Europe, right? And that is that you have the racial solidarity. When you have that racial solidarity with the masses of people, right, or with the majority of people, it's a lot more conducive towards change and transformation, on a national level than it is if you do not have that racial solidarity with the majority. You know what I mean? It's like even if like for instance, like if white people like if Donald Trump were black, even though he has this personality that people are like, oh, it's so goofy and blah 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 blah. If he were black, it would he wouldn't rub the same way. Notwithstanding that white people might like Donald Trump's personality or his, fuck the journalism, all that stuff. If he were black and he was like F the journalism and all that, they would not vote for him. You know what I mean? Like that's like a no-brainer. Huh?
What do you mean?
Like he'd just be black. Like he's just not the majority. You know what I mean? Like they're just, huh?
Just president. I mean, just the president. Okay.
You said what?
He's just the president. Okay.
He's just the president?
I mean, yes. I mean, he do it on one job, on one of those field jobs. Okay. Field job.
Wait, who's saying this? What? What? Yeah, I missed that, man. What are you talking about, man? I'm confused. No, I'm saying they wouldn't even put him into office if he was a black guy. You know what I'm saying? Like they just wouldn't. So, like it's just like a.
He would have been dead first month.
That's what I used to think about. That's what I used to think about Obama, man. I was kind of afraid to vote for him for that. I was like, shit.
I remember early on, he used to have like lots of those shields in front of him to his speeches.
Dang.
Yeah, you know that? Remember? He used to have like bulletproof joints around him on stage.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really, I didn't really see that, but yeah. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like there was a song by Wyclef Jean which was like, if I were president, I'll be inaugurated on Tuesday and dead on Wednesday or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And buried on Friday. You know what I mean? But like, Yeah, it's I don't like, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I didn't like, yeah, I was kind of about that. I was kind of like, I don't know, but yeah, racial independence is one of the things that we have to like race. It's racial solidarity. That's one of the most important things that we can try to accomplish, in this life, and it's just not something that you can get otherwise. Uh, you just can't get it. Like again, like most black people, like for instance, like you're going to see a lot of black folk have to, like, even if they're allegedly pro black, they gotta sell out to white folk because white folk got everything in the country, So like recently there was the example of Killer Mike, his teaming up with this white boy. In fact, I think for a song, and then also like Bernie Sanders, but then
Dungeon Family.
who? Oh, Run Your Family, you said?
I said Dungeon Family.
I don't know who that is.
You not here?
Oh no, you know that. But then Ice Cube really recently got some flack for his cooperation with Donald Trump. But it's like that's the huh?
You contributed?
Did I contribute to Donald Trump?
Nah. Down in Cube.
Oh, the down in Cube? Well, I ain't really down him, but I was just like, I mean, like, black folk just be like, black folk got short-term memory. That's all I was saying. It's just weird how we just got short-term memory. It's like you can spend 4 years, like you spent 3 years, feeling like you was ignored by Trump, and then suddenly, like in the last month, you there rooting for him, and it's like, what? You're like, oh, he's doing something. And you're like, what? But it was 4 years. Like, what? All right, anyway, it's just weird. But anyway, let's go to the next one. Education transmit naturals philosophy, otherwise it's miseducation. So that's the thing that I would say back in the day. That's the thing I would say is missing from the school system. But again, like I said, the public school system is for the majority. Like in any country, the public school system is going to be for the majority. So the thing is that you can go to Africa and convince African people that their school system needs to be redone to be more pro-black, right? But you can't really go to America and convince them that their school system needs to be redone to be pro-black. And if you do somehow convince them to do that, like you need a lot of white approval. Like at the end of the day, the curriculum has to be approved by white folks. So I would perfectly expect, like I can't expect to go to Nigeria. I keep going to Nigeria. Let me get some numbers. I can't expect to go to Rwanda and expect their curriculum to be pro Angola. You know what I mean? Now I could say pro African with a heavy Rwandan bend, right? But I can't necessarily expect it to be pro Angola. So if you're like, or even I could go to China and I can't necessarily say, a pro Japanese curriculum. I could say pro Asian. I could say pro Chinese, obviously. But but a pro, like, and I could, well, like pro American, maybe not. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, I'm not saying that China would not have a pro American. Like, you can't necessarily do it, but you would have to, like, it would have to be, like, you have to have a lot of power, a lot of influence, a lot of something, and that's something that we just don't have. But I would back in the day. But this is what I used to say back then, was just that it transmits natural philosophy. So I used to think that natural philosophy was the most important thing to study, which is the study of nature and all that. All that's true. But I mean, I could also see.
What do you mean by all that's true?
Well, I mean, like I said, the Proverbs would usually say that nature is true. Like if you want to learn the truth, study nature. In fact, if you look at the word for like for the spiritual system, the what you would call divinities or divines or whatever you want to call them, it was nature, NTR, and then you see the reality, the relevance to nature, Now, of course, if you really, remember the meta nature, one of the things you remember is that it, like the random e's inside of the language are just put there for convention, but it's not necessarily the case that the pronunciation was e's. Now, some people will tell you that it might be un toro, or something like that. But again, you wouldn't know. Now there are.
Guesswork.
You say it's exactly. I mean, so like the person who said Utoro, which is the guy on Rafa, I think has one of the best websites, on online. But he I think his more like he looks at the Twi language and the Metanetra, obviously, but he looks at the Twi and he sees the related terms that were passed down from ancient times, and he would find like he would try to do the pronunciation from there. So like a lot of the terms that are today in Africa, circulating in Africa, all over the continent, are terms that are derivative from ancient Africa. But of course, again, language develops and changes over thousands of years. So, or even like if you notice, even in America, language changes like every 10 years or something. You know what I mean? Like once upon a time, like if you see the video of these brothers talking in the 70s, they used to be like, yeah, and education transmits natural philosophy. You said what? I'm trifling, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to talk totally different. Same people, you know what I'm saying? Like these just these jive turkey, you know what I'm saying? Like they black, same people as us, but they just talk different. You know what I mean? So it's like of course, you have accents like from the South and from other places, like
What you mean, boy?
Alright, first off, nobody call me boy, but alright, no, I'm just messing. But yeah, you get what I'm saying, like so it's like, the thing is that I can't remember why we got attention, but nature is like the truth. Oh yeah, so like nature, like we don't know.
It sounds broad, like what aspects of nature exactly?
Well, that's what I'm saying, like I want to switch to the page to the nature thing, but it's just like because I'm recording, I'm screencasting.
My bad.
Yeah. No, because I'm screencasting. It's like if I click around too much, you know what I'm saying? All right, let me not.
I should tell you something.
Let's tell you nothing like that. What's wrong with you? Get your head out of the gutter, man. All right. Anyway, all right. So let's say liberation empowers politically, economically, and culturally. Otherwise, enslavement. So it's enslavement. So the idea is that if you want liberation, you want to be empowered politically, economically, and culturally. It has to be all three. And if it's not all three, then it's just another version of enslavement. So it's like if you don't, and that's the thing that's what I said like about the West. It's like even if you got all the money, and obviously you're not gonna have all the money, but even if you're well-to-do, you got some money. If you don't have that political empowerment, then like you're still technically enslaved. And I mean, like again, like I want to hammer this like Umar or even Kwame Ture. Apparently Kwame Ture was more repetitious than Umar, but it's like if you don't
Are you serious?
Are you serious? Yeah. All right. Like Umar. Like all right, man. You want me to say Umar? Black Wall Street. I want you to understand that if you have no barricade, if you have no actual gate in your community, right? You're really not going to do too well on a shootout where you're a smaller population. If you're on an open field, it's like you go back to Nkrumah's Handbook on Revolutionary Warfare, right? He's saying that if you fight, like if there's an open field, you don't engage the enemy, right? And the trouble is, and the issue is that if you're being invaded, if your city is being invaded, right, then it's like there's two ways to obviously defend yourself, which is the guerrilla warfare, obviously, but there's also the the open field warfare, right? And the reality is that, at least for Black Wall Street, they were in the open field. Now you could technically say, well, why don't they just buckle down and do guerrilla warfare? But again, it's like they didn't have the military armaments, the military to even defend themselves. Because even if you have all the rifles, these white folk legit, and this was happening in Black Wall Street, they legit flew over and dropped bombs on everything. They leveled the whole, they leveled the city. So it's like, even if they were to be like, okay, let's fall back and do guerrilla warfare, which they probably did, it ended up being a massacre. But the thing is that like you just don't have the political you just don't have the political capital to build a gate around your community, right? Build watchtowers, get anti-air missile, equipment for your people. You just don't have that political capital. So even if you have the economic capital, even if you have those financial abilities, it's like you have them, but you can't necessarily do it. And then even when I say like culturally, you could have a lot of cultural artists who are out there who don't have the economy. There's a lot of conscious material being produced. Even my material you could say is conscious, but I don't have the economy for it. I mean, like I don't have the economy to be on the level of those who do. So there's like a whole bunch like realistically speaking, if you want to be liberated, but I mean again, I want to highlight that politically, like the politically part is really important because I would tell you, Carlos Cook was a good ancestor, but because he was in America, they could just imprison him whenever they wanted to. You know what I mean? They could just imprison him whenever they wanted to. And you just had to go along with it. They imprisoned him and sent him to war, or they imprisoned him and said we're going to deport you. And that's it. And that was within their right. Like it's in their right to imprison and deport people from their nation. And until you realize it's their nation, what can I tell you? So we're down to the last three. So the next one is leadership must answer how is that the North Star? Otherwise, it's misleadership. So if people don't know, one of the things that I used to say once upon a time was that you want to encounter anybody who's a leader in a sense and ask them how is that the North Star. The North Star is a reference to during our time of enslavement in America, if you will, right? The like if you wanted to escape, you wanted to flee north. Fleeing north meant either the north of America or even Canada. It's particularly after there were laws that said even if you were in the north, you could still be re-enslaved. So the law only didn't apply in Canada, right? Or I mean, well, of course, Canada wasn't necessarily a place of liberation in a sense, but it was outside of the American jurisdiction, So obviously you'd have Canadian problems in Canada, and you'd have American problems in America, and that's partly why it's like repatriate is one of the things I would say. Now, and that kind of highlights how our ancestors were definitely saying move, get out of there, they are powerful in their borders and less powerful outside of their borders. They're most powerful in their borders. Not that they're not powerful outside of their borders, but they're most powerful in their borders. So, but the question is, how is it the North Star? And so the North Star, as a reference, is that you must act like leadership must be able to point you towards freedom, point you towards liberation, and be able to explain to you how is that the North Star. How is this what's going to get me out of enslavement? And this was the thing that I used to say, as a way for us to challenge, like, your Sharptons, your, back in the days, that's what they were, Sharptons, Barons, so on and so forth, right? As opposed to, like, today, you might say Yvette or whomever. But, like, you have to ask them how is that the North Star. So, like, I mean, a classic example would be, okay, black folk get reparations, right? But do they have the political capital to necessarily, like, let's say they had this money. Do they have the political capital to, like I said, build a defense system that would be required? Because essentially, I mean, I'll say it this way, or like even like if you know video games or anything really, if you know video games or literature, like basic literature from back in the day, or even if you read Garvey and Garveyism, or even if you watch movies, one of the things that you have to worry about in real life is bandits. Okay? You have to worry about bandits. Now, I mean, that sounds ridiculous to us who are, modernized and urbanized, and we're just like, bandits, what's this dude talking about, right? But the reality is that, bandits, like I say in video games, if you will, there's bandits, there's pirates, there's thugs, those kind of things, right? These are basically groups of usually young men who would just rob a person who seems like they have money. You know what I mean? Or it seems like they have something that the thieves want, or that the thieves can use to either poach, fence, sell, or whatever. So the idea is that you have to have some sort of protection against bandits. Now, usually the city, the state, is that protection against bandits. But without the city, without the state, in a sense, you don't really have any protection against bandits. And white folk are like historically a bandit-like people. So like when I was doing the Occidental philosophy and the African and original philosophy and all that stuff, I was saying, realistically speaking, if you look at the character of white folk, like if we are nation builders as African people, like white folk are usually like pirates, like bandits in a sense. So the idea is that if you don't have the political capital to protect yourself against bandits, the reality is that any roving group of thieves can go among you and do what they need to do. Now, obviously, you might say, well, we can have guns and so on and so forth. Yes, but you have to get those guns within a legal framework. A lot of people get those guns in a legal framework. You might be like, no, we don't. We could just manufacture them. Yeah, again, a lot of that is going to be beholden to a legal framework. And if it's not beholden to a legal framework, then you have a military power, a domestic military power, that's going to try to shut you down. And unless you can build a factory very quickly, like as it's already built, right? Then there's no way. It's just really an impractical idea that So basically, even if you got these reparations, right? The reality is that if you can't protect your wealth, which is the example that we have in Black Wall Street, but it's really the example that we have among black people, almost around the whole world, to be honest, but particularly in the West. But if you can't protect it, then like actually, I say this in the Book of Power, which is that if you can't protect something, it's not yours. And I was talking about Africa in that case. I was talking about Africa and its resources, where we talk about, hey, Africa has all these resources, and say we got all these resources, and it's like it's not. You don't have these resources if you can't protect it. And the example I was using, in fact, was this example that this brother, because like I said, I used to be a part of the UAM, and it was people shout out to it. So the UAM, the chairman was Alton Maddox. Alton Maddox, he was telling us about his experience in the South, and how in the South when he was younger, a white man would walk into a Southern house and tell the black man to go outside. Okay, he would go into a house back then and tell the black man to go outside, and then he would screw the black man's black wife. Okay, disgraceful.
1940 something?
Well, yeah, he was young back then, yeah. So yeah. Well, look. But the thing is this, that it's like so the Alton Maddox, he wrote a letter one time, I think I published it or I have it in my emails or whatever. But he was like, thanks, man. But he was like, black folk. He was like, black people, you can't get married. Like you can't get married in America. That's what he said. He said you can't get married in America because, you can't protect your wife. You understand? And the thing is this, that realistically speaking, if you're not organized on some larger level, the truth is that somebody could just go up to your wife. You understand? Now you might be like, hey, that's just the distant past. They can't really do that today. And it's like, well, look, you know what I mean? Right. You see what I'm saying? You might think they can. You know what I'm saying? True. I'll tell you, man. like right now, white folk is screwing our sons. You know what I mean? White folk screwing, or even like a lot of black people would talk about this. They'd be like, oh, why do black men, get all these ugly white women, and these white guys, they get all these pretty black women. But you already know there's a problem with you if not only are you going for these ugly white women, but not just that, but the fact that you're beautiful women, these white boys just walk up and get them. There's some white guys, in fact, matter of fact, I could even say that in Africa, right? Oh, right. First of all, I'll do the example in America. There was this white boy in America who was getting some flack, and all he was doing was making fun of these sisters for it. But he was walking around, he screwed 800 black women, gave them STDs too. Yeah, exactly. South Carolina. Yeah. You understand? 800. And here's the thing, there was a white boy who went to Africa. I think he maybe screwed 80 white women there. Sorry, black women. What happened? I don't know.
His name is Mike Oliver.
Mike Oliver?
Yeah, Mike Oliver.
I don't know who that is. But yeah.
Mike Oliver.
Yeah, he went to Kenya. And he was just...
went to go see this dude, and,
Look, he was publishing the pictures. He was publishing the pictures of him with these women, right? Some of these women were married. And the husbands just broke up or something like that. Some nonsense like that. But the point being that, this white boy could just walk up and get your woman. To this day. A large part of why the white boy, I want to tell you this right now, a large part of why the white boy even keeps some of these black folk alive is for the sexual access. A lot of, there's a book right here, I got it, Renathia Tate's, what's it called? Pieces of a Puzzle. I can probably read some of that book to y'all. It's just kind of too long to read it to y'all.
yeah. Go on.
Yeah. But Renathia, which is the end, Renathia Tate, what she does is she interviews these black women, these white men, even these black men about these interracial relationships. And she's saying that this piece of the puzzle is the secret that black women will not tell you. And that is that, a lot of these black women are secretly having sexual relations with white men. A lot of them. You understand? Like in fact, one of the stories inside the book was this sister. I shouldn't even say sister, right? But anyway, this sister who was messing with this white police officer. You understand? And he was just, he just give up a little money, and that's all it takes. And in fact, even in Carlos A. Cook's book, he talks about how there's an example of, there's this dude talking to this the white guy who might I think he sells salt or something, and what he does is and this is in America, but he's saying essentially the sister's walking by and she waves at her husband, right, who's talking to this white guy, and the white guy says, oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, that girl, she got a nice ass, to tell you, she really good in the sack, but because he thinks the woman waved at him. So he's like, yeah, she got a nice ass, she really good in the sack, but I need money. I can't just keep giving her free, salt or something like that. You know what I mean? Or free food or whatever. And I remember a long time ago I was sitting down I can't remember, it was like a bus ride or something with this sister, and she was telling me that a lot of these grocery stores, a lot of these corner stores that black folk love going to, right? A lot of them got little Arab children walking around, or little mixed children walking around. I don't go to no corner store, so I don't know what it's like in there. But they got a lot of those mixed kids walking around from the black women in the community. You know what I mean? A lot of the black women in the community messing with these I want to say these boys.
Disgusting.
True. It's happening. And a part of it is because they have economy, they have institutions, they have easy access to talk to these women. Every day your girl going out, every night she going out. Huh?
3 chips for $1. That's what it is.
Exactly, they get a little discount, for a little dick suck. Shit, I shouldn't curse, but anyway.
For 3 bags of chips, that's crazy.
Bruh. First off, you gotta know what poverty's like. Like I know a lot of these women got no, they don't got jobs at all. They don't have no jobs. And some of them not even collecting, from government. Or if they are, but whatever. But a lot of them just, go by, and a lot of them high. Huh? A lot of them high, all the time, all the damn time. They just they smoke every night. I don't know how they afford it, but they do. So it's. You said what? Oh yeah, right. Shit. Anyway, but yeah. So alright, let's go. Organization advantages its membership. Otherwise, it's misorganization. So this is one of the most important concepts over here, right? This I think I agree with too. Is that if you're in an organization, it's going to advantage you. It should. What'd you say?
I said you wrote it, didn't you? You said this is what I agree with.
I'm saying that, once upon a time, I was thinking differently. Right. All right. Let's see. After, this is collegiate level. The other books is graduate level. So this is collegiate level, or even high school level. You know what I'm saying?
Undergrad.
Yeah, exactly. It's an undergrad, or even undergrad. You know what I'm saying? Secondary school as opposed to tertiary. But all right, let's go. Organization advances its membership, otherwise misorganization. So this is one of the things that I have with the Black Panther Party, for instance. Like I tell you the story of, like I saw Fred Hampton Jr. You know, he's talking to us, blah blah blah, but he's telling us that Fred Hampton didn't have no food in the fridge, right? So even though Fred Hampton's out in the community feeding the neighborhood, he didn't have no food in the fridge for his family, you know. And so it's like that right there is an unsustainable model. If you're part of an organization that's just taken from you, right, that doesn't really advantage you, then you're being misorganized. And that's really why. That's probably why I'm like, if I want to do an organization, I gotta like if I want to do another organization, I gotta like really make sure that I can give my memberships a good thing. You know what I mean? That's the only reason why. Like again, like I tell people, you gotta organize. But like the only way I would reserve, like when you go to an organization, you gotta say, what do I get out of it? You know, like realistically speaking, you know. And it's like you know, also like, well, what do I give? Like you have to give, but you have to give and get. You can't just do one. You know, if Fred Hampton is feeding the community, right? Then like something has to be about it. You know, like even what happened with Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was like, you know, after he passes away, people are gonna take care of his kids and his wife. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna let them go through poverty or nothing. They're gonna look out for him. You know? They're gonna look out for him after death. His wife is writing, they ain't look out for me. You understand? Like that's a problem. Even like I met Dr. Ben in real life, you know, I was all giddy and, you know, whatever, you know. But he was an old man by then, you know, he doesn't really pay attention to anything, you know, he didn't really know much. But it's like the dude's just like, huh? I mean, look, it was Dr. Ben, you know what I'm saying? But whatever, man. That's what I'm saying, man. Y'all got no respect, man. But anyway, but like huh? Show enough. It's not like what? Like what part of you don't understand? Like it would be like.
I'm excited too, but I ain't not gonna be all like, what's this? Be so much book like.
That's not. Look, man. That's just called respecting an ancestor, man. I do that. I respect my elders. I respect my elders. Meanwhile, you talking to any older person, like you know. No, yeah, I feel like that white boy talking about no respect, man. I got no respect, man. Oh, you never know, right? You probably think I'm too old. All right. Anyway, look. Organization. Yeah. So, but like, this is the thing though. Dr. Ben is just wilding away in a nursing home by himself. No guests. Just by himself. No money. Nothing. This is like a lot
of them did.
A lot of them.
I want to say, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, and she like basically like her family even pay for a funeral. Like I think, what's his name had to pay for it.
Who?
Tariq.
Oh yeah. I think it's something like that. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just like because you said Tariq. I don't like Tariq. You know, the point is that you can't like just give to people when they.
Clock is right twice in the day.
You said what? No, I said you can't just give to people after they pass. You gotta be supporting them while they living too. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I don't know if he was or not, but even all the same, the point being that, you know, that's another thing that we tend to do, which is that we tend to just be like, we tend to become groupies, if you will, after the person passes. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened with Winnie Mandela. Like I ain't never seen so many pro Winnie Mandela people until after she passed away. You know what I mean? Or
she passed away, I forgot.
Like it was like, I mean, like I listen mostly like because I was following South African Twitter, but like it was like maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, South Africa.
Really? 2 years ago?
Maybe 201. 201. I don't know.
I don't remember her even. I thought she was still alive, though. I didn't even know she passed.
Yeah. Dang, man, bruh. Chill. That's why they don't let you.
2018.
That's why they don't let you in the freaking Nigeria. Yeah, I mean, that's why they don't let you in South Africa, man. Because you there, I ain't even pay attention. I didn't even know she died. Like what? Like, dude, like everybody else is mourning. This Nigerian dude is like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care what's going on in that country.
But people bigged up Winnie Mandela because she always well, say she stood by, Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, but that's what they picked her up in 2018.
But one thing they talk about that I think she was, I guess, infidelity towards Nelson Mandela. I'm not sure though.
Wait, he was in prison?
I mean, I'm not sure. That's what I mean.
Man, look, man. I'm gonna be for real. Like, you in prison for how long?
Go ahead, justified, man.
Huh?
Go ahead, justified, bro.
You said it's not justified?
Now go ahead, do it.
Wow. Nah, I don't know about that, man. You there separated for how long? I don't know.
But I see what you're saying, but this situation is different though. Like, why you separated?
I feel you, but like, I mean, sure. Like, look, I'm just saying that Winnie was at
a freedom fighter, bro.
If Winnie was at a party, and she's like, yeah.
You sick. You
You know what I'm saying? Look, that's why, sure, I'll be like, oh.
I know their daughter passed like a couple months ago.
Dang. Okay.
Oh
yeah. Okay. I wonder how you know that. How you know that before anybody else? You know what I'm saying? Nigerian. All right. I know she passed. I was there.
You lying?
You said what?
COVID.
She had COVID? Oh.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I thought you said Kobe. I was like,
the world we live in.
Yeah, I know, right? New world. New World Order, man. It came through. It came true. Anyway, but like, yeah. No. I feel you though. I mean, like, yeah, you're right. On a freedom tip, it's like, yeah, you want to like, preserve the sexy. I'm just saying though. But I mean, I don't know if that even happened. But all the same, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna blame no. Like, people as humans. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I had this monkey. Like, I want to watch this monkey documentary, right? These monkeys.
You want to watch a monkey documentary?
Yeah, you should see this video. I put it up on Discord. There's
Why not a lion documentary?
Nah, because the monkeys.
Lions be doing cool stuff.
What they be doing?
They be like,
All right, man. They be like Puma. They be like Puma and Timon. Shut the fuck up, man. That's a movie, man. That's a Disney movie. Anyway, exactly. They be like, who my daughter? Like, nah, that ain't never happened, man. They can sing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, these monkeys, they have this social living. They have, like, in the video I was looking, like, I put it on Discord, but they have this, like they just get hugs. Like, they just be like just move their mouth. Like, they walk up to some other monkey, and they move their mouth, like, blah, 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 whatever. And then the other monkey gives them a hug. Even if it's, like, not their family. And then they just live in, like there's, like, a monsoon like, it's a big forest where there's monsoons all the time. And so, all the time, there's, like, plenty of fruit. And so, they just kind of chill all the day and hug and eat fruit. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, shoot, they know what they're doing. So
they sound like they chilling, like
they chilling, dude. And then meanwhile, it's like I'm saying, like I had to delete it because it was kind of kind of pathetic. But like, yeah, like for humans to get hugs, you gotta, like, these are intimate hugs too. It's not like oh yeah, whatever. But for a human to get a hug, you gotta put in work. You don't gotta just move your mouth. But it's like that intimacy. And the reason why I bring that up is because Winnie Mandela, like, if you're a human, you might want some sort of intimacy. I mean, maybe somebody might take advantage of that, but I mean, she was Winnie Mandela. You know what I'm saying? I can't blame the brother. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bucket list.
I mean, look, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, sure. If a woman got a name, you know what I mean? You gotta spit some game. I mean, that's like, it rhymes, so it gotta be true. All right, let me stop. You know what I'm saying? Yo, well, how, what did Usher say? Don't leave your girl around me. True player for real? Nah, all right, let me stop. All right. All right, let me stop. All right, so then, now this is the last one. I kind of improved it a little bit, but it goes, the problem with Europeans and Asians is Europeans and Asians. And the solution for Africans is Africans. So this idea is that...
What about the Eurasians?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I changed it to the problem with Eurasians is Eurasians. And the solution for Africans is Africans. But like this is one of the most important things that you can understand. Like, this is still one of the best things. And this is the reason why, like I said again, you don't want to be in a majority Eurasian nation, because the reality is that they are your problem. It's like I always say, like if you have a tiger in your bedroom, right? It don't matter what the tiger's doing. You know? It don't matter if the tiger's asleep. It don't matter if the tiger is knitting. Don't matter if the tiger's sitting on the laptop. Don't matter if the tiger is, singing Hakuna Matata. You know what I mean? The tiger is a problem.
Or eating frosted flakes.
Exactly. Eating frosted flakes or running the sports team, put out sports plans. No. The problem is that he is a tiger. You understand? And he's in your room. Now, if you are in the same space as a Eurasian, the thing is that this is the most important thing too, that the tiger is less dangerous to humanity than the Eurasian is. You know, like if you go, if you say how many humans have tigers killed versus how many humans have Eurasians killed, the list is not comparable. But that's what we have to grasp as a people is that
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, yeah. He was pretty dangerous. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like all of them. Like when you understand the Eurasian is really a deadly, dangerous individual. And the thing is this, that you technically supposed to be a deadly and dangerous individual too. You just aren't.
Don't push me, because I'm close to the edge.
All right. That's an old song right there. But and the solution for us as a people is our people. So this is one of the things that I used to do, is that I used to believe.
I ain't no killer, but don't push me.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the truth is this, that you are supposed to be. You're supposed to be a killer in a sense.
I just like the sweetest joy.
You just want to sing today, huh? You happy, huh? You just said bye to your girl or something? He just hung out with his girl. He just in a good mood. Like just can't help but sing. Like, come on, my dude. Like, all right, man. We get it. You're happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah. The problem with so that's the same. The solution for Africans is Africans, and by the solution for Africans is Africans. What that means is that we as a people, and the only thing I would say to that is that, realistically speaking, you want Africans of a certain level of consciousness. Like once upon a time, I would have just said any African, but you really want Africans of a certain level of consciousness, and of course, like I said, the way how you want to develop your consciousness is through, rigorous study, and I would advise anybody and everybody to study the literature of yours truly. But other than that, you could check out these podcasts, you could do all that. But this would be the 12 core tenets of the African blood siblings. It was a good organization once upon a time. I mean, the people who participated in it, like I said, the membership who would benefit would have went through one of the best educational training courses on the planet. Hopefully.
Yeah, it was cool.
Exactly. Hopefully, someday I could do another sort of situation going on, but I would do that. Like I want to do it in Africa. So one of the plans I have. Who's it? PC?
I said AC.
AC? Who's AC?
Yeah, after COVID.
Oh yeah, sure. After COVID, shit. Yeah, I mean, like I heard Tanzania is good though. I be hearing people say Tanzania is good, so I don't know.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that's the move for me. I don't want to visit.
I'm saying I don't know though, because it's like one of the things about Tanzania I want to say is that there was the president was like, oh, look, watch this, I'm gonna show you how the COVID test is fake, and because he's like a biologist and all that, and he tested it on like a cantaloupe or something, like on a fruit, and then they returned the test and said, yeah, the fruit has COVID. He was like, that's some old bullshit, forget this stuff, right? But then you also read some of the documents, and it might be because it's these Wazungu documents, but they're like, oh, he said we could pray, and I'm like, wait, what? But it might be Wazungu just trying to be like, yeah, exactly. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So like, I don't know. He said something about like prayer being effective or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh.
But I don't know if he really said that. But that's what's flying out. But it might be just Wazungu trying to throw us off. So I mean, I'd have to look into it more. But it was more like, I'm not 100% sure because I have somebody in Tanzania. Like I know somebody in Tanzania, and they was like, oh yeah, that's good. Like we watched that. We followed all the protocol. We did social distance.
Yeah,
washed
that's
our
why they're
hands,
open right now.
we wore our masks. Exactly, we did all that. It's gone. You know what I mean? And the reality is that there's
That's most of the continent is being real, except maybe like South Africa, maybe Northern.
That's what I said. Cause I was asking my friend in South Africa. I was like, "How y'all doing?" She was like, "Oh, we level 1 quarantine." You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know,
The
like
only places on the continent that I know that are like, still
okay.
anything close.
But see, that's what I'm saying. The other countries,
Western world,
a lot of the countries got like a 2-week waiting period. Like if you gotta like sneak out of the hotel or something, then obviously if you get
like
caught,
your trip gotta be like at least 2 months for you to benefit from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. All right, but that's what I'm saying. Like I wanna make that. I wanna like go to the continent finally. I'm done with this America stuff. But also, you said what?
Are you leaving later?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I could, right?
You gotta make sure you get your data plan straight.
My data plan?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bump it off.
You're gonna be doing these streams over there.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I mean, I don't know if I would, but still, I'll probably give y'all what y'all want. Your 2 minute, be like, yo, what up? I'm having fun, having a blast. Good luck with you.
Do it big.
Good luck with your whatever president you got.
Doing big trip.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Here I am on this beach. No. Here I am on this boat. I'm on a boat.
They call me Mr. Bitches.
Mr. Bitches? What the? Exactly, shit. You're right, man. Yeah. Here's me and Nelson. Here's me and Winnie Mandela. Yeah.
Bruh, come on, man.
Yeah. I'll be like, yo, Mandela. I'll be like, yo, Nelson, I'm messing with your woman. Yes, I am. No, I'm just playing. I'm gonna look for a political prisoner and go mess with their wife. No, I'm joking. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because you never know. You never know if I become a political prisoner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you Nigerians going to South Africa. You already on the blacklist.
You said what?
You already blacklisted from South Africa.
Nah, we family, right? South Africa. All right, let me come off the stream before I get in trouble. South Africa for real. Let me cut it off. I might delete it later, so nobody downloaded. All right. I done told the secret. But all right, family. Thanks for listening. This was another episode of the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio. Make sure you check out the literature that is, available. Obviously available on Amazon. Get the book sales up. Get the, get everything running and smooth. I see there's no comments. Looks like no viewers, but it's all good. Watch it when you can. This is Beyond Black Nationalism. What's wrong with the 12 Tenets? And this has been Onitaset. Good night and good luck.